What the hell have I been up to? So I've been trying to go through some scraps and use up some stuff. I feel like I didn't even put a dent in the scraps. So I like to whip these out on manila folders, which, yes, I am aware that some of them have the Oxford written. Come on now. No, it's not going to have one. Nope. Right here, like, and it's on the wrong side, but I really liked this texture of the tea dye more than I cared about the Oxford. I can cover that up with a label. So I did these. I take my Elmer's glue in my pickle jar, and I still have it sitting by the sink, but I use one of my large brushes, and I brush it, make sure it's really good. Sometimes I go over it, you know, in some places, so it's like really stuck on there. And what I like to do with these is cut them up, obviously. Sometimes I'll take some scrapbook paper scraps and break up the text and this basic color, so I'll throw a little bit of color at it. And sometimes I like to cover them with a napkin, and I do the same thing with the wet glue, then put the napkin on, and then with the napkin I wet glue over it to really secure it on there. So that's what I like to do with these. And I have not I haven't trimmed the edges and stuff of these yet. I'm cleaning my desk, so I thought that I would go over some of this stuff with you, and maybe you'll like it. I don't know. I have been taking other scraps. Okay, wait, we gotta start here. I made a haul a few weeks ago in the trunk of my car where I bought a couple of books. One of them was a book about Broadway, and one of them was a book called Thread of Life, which is this cover. The Broadway cover I had to throw out. My kids stained it right there. See that? That's from chocolate ice cream. I had to throw the cover out. I just, you know, have too many basic black covers. I had to get rid of one. So what I did was I fussy cut out, like that's one of the ads from there. This is a picture, and it was also the end pages. I took and sorry, inappropriate, cut out the pictures that I liked. Lots of black and white, so it's like a photograph, you know, instead of it just being in a book. So I went through and I did that. Then I took paper like end pages from books. So for instance, this here came from the end page of a book. Here are a couple of end page pieces. Like most of this is blank on the back, you know. I use stuff like this, like that one's blank. So I use stuff like this for stuff like this. So, and then I took the tea dyed paper that I made a couple months back, and the ones that I tore, I put them all together. And these are all from the torn tea dye pages. This was one I did a long time ago that tore. I plan on just covering that up. Now, I'm not going to go through all of these with you, but I am going to go through some to talk about my plan and how I plan on fixing some of the imperfections so that I can get the most out of the items that I harvested. Like, for instance, this has this rim right here. I'm just going to cut it off. Okay, so there. That's that big plant. This is just an extra piece of an end, you know, another end. This is was a torn paper I had. More torn paper. And some of these, I left white space. So these were two photos next to each other, and I cut them out as one unit. Same thing here, although there's no white space, but it was the same kind of idea. So I did stuff like that so that I can put a little cluster at the top of, in that top white corner, top white, you know, I can put a little cluster. And I do plan on distressing the edges, and I have noticed that when you distress ink things that are glossy, it tones the glossiness down a little bit. So I might go over the whole pictures. I don't know. We'll play around with a couple ideas. Like this was another one of my torn pages, and I just left the torn edge at the top. You know, some of them are like double-sided, so I did not do that. Like this one here is double-sided, and it's pretty close. I mean, that's pretty close. This one here, though, it looks nice on this side, but I got a piece of a picture down here. I like this sign, though, 4 roses. So this, like, I figured I could lace over that. Or put a strip of washi or something. And then these are other ones, too. Like, this is double-sided. I like the buildings, and then the ad for General Electric. Some of them see building, and then I like these people. But look, I cut off all this wordage. So just put a strip of something over it. Same thing here. I have this white edge here, but this side looks pretty good, right? So put something on the edge. Sew something, glue something. 2 that I put together. And then I like this strip as like a belly band somewhere. So I don't need to back that with paper to make it into a belly band. You know, unless I have some kind of theme and I put this band in the middle of a chunkier band. That's one thing. Same thing here, though. I got these 2, but then I like this photo, so I could put something down there. And I did that a few times, and I did that even with some of these ones that are covered with paper. I left edges, you know, longer edges on some. Here's some more that didn't have anything. But it's mostly dyed paper. Some of the paper is thin and the images came through, but it's just life. I'm sorry. Just gonna have to deal with it. I'm sorry, but you know, things we make aren't always perfect. Things I make aren't always perfect. So that's 3 pictures put together. These here too, like once I got to these large ones, I wasn't going to start taking out full pages of paper. So what I started to do, first of all, most of these are, like this one here, I did because I had, oh, see, yeah, these are double-sided large ones. This was an end page from a book, so I did that. Same thing here. These were large end pages. Like this one here is textured. It's like a linen paper. This here, same thing. And I backed that on an end paper. So those papers from the end pages of books are really nice for the reason that you can back them with things. And most of them in the, you know, informational books or the reference books or the coffee table books, or you know, whatever large books you have, nonfiction type books, they usually have nice thick end papers, so keep that in mind. This here I left the little blurb. Sometimes I do that because if I put this in a journal, right, the recipient, I like the recipient to learn, to have things to look at and read and learn about. I like it to be an interactive thing. So maybe this here, talking about before and after of Times Square. This is during the Times Square blackout. This might inspire someone to look up this instance of the 1942 wartime blackout in Times Square, because it obviously was a big deal, and it, you know, was a big enough deal to be put in this Broadway book. These were the end pages from the Broadway pages. And you see how thick? That's how a lot of these books are. And then these come from that nature book, and I haven't decided yet if, oh, some of these are the large Broadway ones too, because I had started putting them someplace else, you'll see. But these nature ones, I'm not sure if I'm going to turn them into ephemera or glue book stuff. So I'm really thinking on that. The large pages in the back here are going to become pages to something, whether, you know, some kind of a journal or something. So I haven't, these are going to become pages too. Tuck those back there. I haven't moved them yet. And when I have my studio ready, I will have a place for single pages that can be used as journal pages. You know, most of the time I have folios that can be used, but I got to start putting all my single pages in one happy place. So that's what I did with those books. Okay, I did that. With some of the larger pictures, I didn't take them out of here yet. I had this vintage composition book. Okay, vintage composition book. I like the color of the paper of this book. It's almost yellowing like. So what I did was I took pictures, the larger pictures, I didn't do anything on this page. I started on this one. I took the larger pictures and glued them in here, okay? And I'm going to cut them up with the lines on the back. And then I took all of the pages that I used to back these, had scraps left over, a lot of them. So I put all the scraps in the following pages. Now, I was an idiot, and I used that Elmer's craft glue stick that I had gotten from that woman. And that is the first time, and I'm going to do it again. You can all watch me do this because I will never do this. I am going to take this glue stick here, okay, it's extra strength, and, oh, maybe not, that might be different. No, it's not. It still just is not sticky. I'm throwing it in the trash. Craft Bond can go to hell. Because if I take my stupid little Elmer's one, right, and I wipe my finger on it, and I go like this, really sticky right away. That one there, these pages, just because I was trying to use that glue stick up, oh my goodness, the amount of glue I had to use on these pages. Oh, let me just tell you. So I haven't been making a lot of videos because I've been gluing scrap paper to other paper, okay? Like this has some of the glue, it's sticky on here, but these things didn't want to stick. Oh, it was just really nerve-wracking. And then this one had a big glob of that glue, and it's still sticky in a few places, but, you know, right here, it's like, oh my God. So that was the composition book. I have a few of these, so I didn't feel so guilty using it, but I'm going to have to, like, put wax paper or, ooh, here we go. I have this stupid piece of acetate that's been kicking around. That'll just be right there so that the pages don't get glued together, because I'm going to stick that back in the cabinet. So then, from the round of book page ephemera I made before this time, I put the scraps in my scrappy phone book. So this was one I did with some out of my scrap box when I was going through the scrap box. So that's just like colorful and whatever. But these I'm keeping kind of plain because then I can collage something colorful on them when I cut them up or glue them to a base or something. You know, I could do that. And I'm only doing one side. I'm usually the type of person that does two sides of everything because, whoa, but I want to glue this onto something. I started using the phone book for a reason. I started using the phone book for the nice thin pages. So when I glue this stuff onto phone book paper, it's not bulky. But it's sturdy enough that it would make a nice card, okay? So I did one side, and this was nice. Like, I was watching some live streams, and I just threw down strips of paper and strips of paper, because when you rip off the scraps, 99% of the time they're in strips. So strips and chunks and pieces, and I started to get to the end of my strips. I had some small pieces, small bits to use, but I do get glue. I tend to get glue everywhere. So yeah, some of my pages are kind of glued together at the edges because I'm so ruthless with my gluage. See, I even tore some stuff. So that's my phone book. I suggest everybody get a phone book and do this because it's just a great way to get rid of the small scraps. And I have my bird book that I haven't done anything. I was going to do the ephemera with it. So like, what a nice end page. Nice and thick. I was going to fussy cut it out and turn this into cards. And I might for some things. But like this here, I think this would make an awesome page in a journal. I'm thinking vertical. What I'm thinking of is books that I cinch. This could be turned into a card here. Okay, this guy. This could be glued onto a backing, you know, cut, crop it, and glue it. This is just a map. I could do that and then use it as a background for a collage. Same thing with these types of things. Just glue over them. This could be a card, but then there's things like this. Would be a nice, just a whole page. You know, emus, yeah. So there's little things I can cut, and then there's things like penguins and these guys, but I mean, like, look at ducks on the bottom of a page. That's just nice. Penguins on the bottom of a page. I feel like they just want to be glued into something as a piece. So I'm having a hard time deciding with these what I should do, because, you know, then you get some of them that have a bunch of birds, like I just went by. Bird. This, I could fussy cut birds, you know. Here, fussy cut birds. I don't know. Any ideas? What you think would be, it would be most useful for? Like this, I could cut this out and turn that into a nice tag or a card. I don't know. I mean, tell me if I'm on the right track, because I want to use this wisely. Not like I don't have 40 other bird books. But maybe I don't have this exact one. And of course, since I can't like finish anything, these are just 2 leftover dyed folders that I had that I was going to collage on. But see what I mean? Look at how this looks on the inside. But then the outside's like boring because of the way that it sat in the tea. So yeah, the inside came out better than the outside. And this organ book was a book that I was going to donate, but I used it to test out my new commercial cutter. And it cut this whole book in 2 cuts. So it was 1,000 pages, I think, and it cut it in 2 cuts. So I'm like, well, I might as well just harvest it and then collage with it. And the paper in it is very nice. So it's not a bad idea. It's like a linen, it's like a texture paper. It reminds me of like a really good copy paper, the way you can see the markings, the lines in it. So it's a little bit of a different texture. And so I harvested images out of it. I will turn these into some sort of ephemera and use these too. Okay, so I got all this, and then I have the other pages in with my collage stuff, hence why my collage stuff isn't going down in the collection. But that's like what I've been up to, and that's kind of why, you know, you're not getting a lot of fresh, awesome content, because of I'm just wasting things up. I'm using things up. I'm, you know, making ephemera. I'm stocking up my stash. I'm stocking things up so that I can list them, list things on Etsy, and I'm stocking things up so that I can share the ephemera or the masterboards or whatever people are interested in. I'm just bulk making, I guess, like I do. So yeah, that was pretty much how that went. And my Bondo spreader was so awesome when it came to really burnishing down the glue on the backs of all those images and papers, especially the glossy stuff that don't like to take glue very well. Well, you push it down enough and you push that paper in there and it'll be just fine. But that's what I've been up to. I still have one more Norman Rockwell book. This is like the second. I had this exact same book. So this is the second one that I've gotten in the last couple of months. And I harvested the first one, and I have all those images in a pile, and I'm going to harvest this one too, because I love Norman Rockwell's stuff. I love these images, and I love all these. I cut all these out because they're double-sided. So one little dude there, and then you got the old lady and the snowman there. So they're double-sided, which means they're good little embellishment pieces for any kind of tuck spot or pocket. Or, you know, even if you wanted to use it, glue it down. You have 2 sides to choose from. But yeah, so that's the Norman Rockwell. And I gotta start with this. I gotta start this one. But now I have to go fertilize my garden. So thank you all for listening to me ramble on like a deranged maniac. And I will be back soon with a video of a stash haul. Okay, where I did a haul of things in my stash that I forgot I owned. So I'm hoping to get that video made up this week too. And I hope everybody is having a great spring. Memorial Day is coming up here, and I hope everyone has a terrific Memorial Day weekend. And I will see you around for sure. Ta-ta for now.